everyone, I am Sanji Himura. I'd like to thank you for watching the W2 Report live. Today we're going to have a little special debate with Lord Crocosquirrel. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. Or is it everybody? I should stick to the script.
Well, you know there is no script here.
You told me to say that thing. But then I screwed it up. That's the script.
Today we're going to debate Today we're going to debate an article done by one Zachary Fairfax, and here's the article. The article will be coming up on your screen in about 30 seconds. And here we go. We're going to say hello to the nice folks at home by having an art discussion on this subject. The Nintendo Direct that we're going to cover happened Thursday, if memory serves me correctly. And
3 days ago.
Yeah,
so that would be Saturday, Friday, Thursday. Yeah, we can count.
Yeah, we can count. And we're going to have
I can count. I can count. I'm not entirely sure about you.
That's true.
Because I have to rag on you now.
It happened Thursday in the morning in the U.S. time, and there's a lot of great games that were announced by Nintendo for Mario's 35th anniversary. Let's not make any words about it. What we're here to discuss, however, is the fact that Nintendo will remove 2 of its games from being able to purchase on March 31st of next year.
Except that one of them by that time will only have been out about 6 weeks. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's, whatever the hell it was.
No, that wasn't it. That wasn't the 2 games. The 2 games are Super Mario 3D All-Stars and...
It's a 3D collection, yeah. And the Battle Royale Mario 35.
Right.
They're going to do limited time releases, and then they're going to run Super Mario 3D World. Probably, I think, is actually due to be out for about 6 months or so. So it'll probably disappear sometime in August. But there are only X number of physical copies. The number of digital copies will not be a huge hassle, except that of course they're time limited. They're going to be vaulted.
Right.
At least that's the presumption at this point. Nintendo may actually change its mind. It's been known to do that. But to make the segue into the debate, the article in question claims this is anti-consumer, and I'm not entirely sure it is. Yes, we've got the question of FOMO, fear of missing out, but that generally tends to go with the territory. Why do you think? And it's a large reason that you get people that pre-order games months and sometimes years in advance, rather than wait for 2 to 6 weeks after release, so that you're actually part of residual sales as opposed to being actually part of the statistics.
Right.
So now I have been guilty of this a time or 6 myself, but only for games that I have a reasonable expectation will be good. I do not have copies of. I don't have my own copies of Mario 64 or Mario Sunshine. I think I've got the last one from that 3D collection, and I forget which one it was. Oh, Super Mario Galaxy. I've got a couple copies of that, mostly on the Wii and Wii U.
Right.
So, okay, what do we got? What do we got from there? The basic thesis here is actually 2-pronged. One, it's Nintendo's IP. They're entitled to do what the fuck they want, and generally speaking, they do it anyway.
Right.
Okay, you can expect probably 99% of your hardcore Nintendo fanboys will just take it the way will take what they can get when they can get it. There have been games that have disappeared from the from the various Nintendo stores. And the overwhelming and like everyone else, the overwhelming majority of games that have been released over the course of the last 40 years, once the hardware goes, you can't once they stop making the games, once they stop making the hardware, generally speaking, they don't press the discs for them anymore.
Right.
So you wind up in used markets, especially when we're talking about console games. You wind up in used markets in which you are going to get price gouged,
Mm,
uh, or
yeah.
in the case, or you wind up in emulation sites or other such similar things, where you can be sued by Nintendo for downloading any of it. So yeah, there's that. I'm thinking that Nintendo's habit of suing people at random is actually much more damaging, much more anti-consumer than them vaulting a game after 6 months. The
Now,
flip side, wait, I'm not done.
okay.
The flip side of that is that this is the same behavior Disney does. They take a movie out of the vault. They put out a theatrical release. They press a bunch of DVDs, Blu-rays, whatever the hell they got, whatever the hell the current format is, and they sell it as yet another special edition, also known as Yase. Okay, Nintendo doing what they're doing at this point is not only not unheard of, but is well accepted by a great many people. They expect this shit, and this is what they're going to get. Are they going to do it in the future? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're just going to maybe they'll just sell out whatever they've got in terms of physical copies, pull the game off, put the game back on the shelf, put the game or the game collections in question back on the shelf for a year or two, and polish them up a little bit more, then push them right the fuck back out as regular releases. We don't know what Nintendo is going to do, but Nintendo is well known for making really weird, fucked up announcements that have everybody scratching their freaking heads, and that's actually been pointed out in the article in question. The idea that Nintendo would pull a stunt like this, yeah, okay, I'm game. They'll do that. They're going to do that. They're going to do that shit eventually anyway. And if you really look back at the last 40 years of video games, once the hardware's done, you can't use once the hardware's become obsolete and you can't get it anymore, you're not gonna get dick. You have to go to the abandonware sites and use emulators just to get some of the really neat games from days gone by. Some of them will be remastered. Some of them will be rebooted, which is worse. So on and so on and so forth. There's a game called Cobra Mission that I bought a copy of back in the 1990s. Came on a stack of floppy disks. Try and find that game now.
Right.
Quick hint: you can't. The only place you can get it is an abandonware site, and even that series gray territory. So yeah, some games have become commercially available again. The Might and Magic series is as a matter of course. The same with all of the Ultima games to date. So only the most famous actually wind up getting re-released. The Bard's Tale was actually redesigned and rebuilt based on what they could get out of the uh, out of the myriad copies that they had in various for various platforms. The Apple IIe, the Commodore 64, the Amiga. I think they might have done something similar for Amstrad. The original PC versions of those games, they had to completely reverse engineer it and get it working that way. All this while In Exile was still working on March Tale 4. So yeah, theoretically these things are a possibility. Most for the most part though, not so much. The overwhelming majority of gaming hit gone because they've been doing this shit for the last 40 years. And if you don't believe me, ask my video game collection. I've got hardware and shit from so far back that most of you haven't been breathing. Most of the people that are ever going to watch this haven't been breathing that long.
Right.
Okay, and that's a thing that won't change. I'm going to be 95 years old still playing on an Xbox 360. Why? Because I know how to maintain my gear.
Mm-hmm.
My Switch will probably still be breathing in and out by then. I'll have to replace batteries in a couple of these, but that's going to be about it. Beyond that, the only thing you can do is hope and pray you can keep the disc based games themselves alive.
Right.
Never mind having to break open an old Super Nintendo or an old Sega Genesis cartridge, Mega Drive for the folks that aren't in the U.S. To try and replace the fracking batteries. Now, Mr. Sanjin, why is this anti-consumer?
Okay. The reason why this is anti-consumer is there is a broader picture that needs to be painted first. It started with the game called PT, and
Okay.
in case you don't know what PT means, it means playable trailer for Silent Hills. And Konami, in its quote infinite wisdom, decided to not develop video games anymore, and mobile was the way to go.
Well, the mobile games are actually they went to pachinko machines, pachinko machines, slot machines, and etc. They don't even release that very many mobile games anymore. There's really no money in it unless you've got something really good. And Konami's not known for that. Because Konami is Konami, and Konami is the worst.
Right.
That Now, following on from that, the reason they killed PT, and there are still a few downloaded copies running around, and you can just pray you can put your hands on an appropriate PlayStation that still has it installed, was because they don't need a playable trailer for Silent Hills after they canceled Silent Hills.
Right.
That's why it came off the store, and Konami said as much.
The there actually I've been hearing reports out from various sources at the time that said that Konami was actually considering suing eBay because it was allowing sales of PlayStation 4s with PT installed.
See, that's Konami's own actions. I don't know what that has to do with Nofriendo being anti-consumer for vaulting games.
No, and what I'm trying to get at is they basically vaulted every game that they developed and made until quite recently made, mind you. And it's the fact that Nofriendo might start a trend in the gaming industry that I'm actually afraid. I'm actually very, very afraid that it might push people into pre-ordering exclusively.
That's the thing that won't ever happen. Yes, they're still going. If everybody were to pull a stupid stunt like that, and they really can't, especially when you're talking about the likes of EA and Ubisoft and a few of the others. Most of them don't generate single player experiences anymore. The only time that's actually going to have a real effect of any kind is if you're dealing in single player experiences. Most of the major publishers, and that includes Sony and Microsoft and any of the major publishers beyond that, they're more interested in games as a service because it provides a recurring model. You don't want to restrict your player base for multiplayer online games. You don't do that.
No, you don't.
And if they can't do it to, oh, I don't know, just just to grab something completely out of my ass, NBA 2K21, um, you're not going to get them to they're going to go, okay, why are we maintaining two systems for single player versus multiplayer? The three single player experiences we're even going to release this year, and and even those have got online components. Why are you going to do that? There is all you're really going to do is kill the market. See, here's the fun part. Mario and Sonic have one thing in common. They are both absolutely iconic to their publishers. So while Mario exists, there will always be demand for him. You can generate more demand if you put a timer on it. You can't do that with, oh, I don't know, Madden 22 or Bus Simulator 2035. But you can do that. But you can say with a Mario game or with Cyberpunk 2077, and CD Projekt Red won't do that. They actually get more sales as they go down, as they actually generate more revenue down the line. Nintendo's playing a reasonably dangerous game. They expect everyone that was going to buy it to have done so prior to the end of March. Give us 6 months. That's a They're playing a dangerous game here, and I'm not inclined to think that they're going to that's going to get picked up by the rest of the major publishers, especially when they're spending 3 to 5 years on a game. Nintendo didn't have to. Nintendo took a year or so to polish it up. They didn't spend a lot of money on a game that they don't actually have to on games that were done. They still have all the source code, et cetera, et cetera. So is that going to be a thing? No, probably not. I expect Ubisoft to pull it once. And then they're going to realize that because they're doing annual iterations, they're effectively doing it already. When you're talking about games like, oh, I don't know, Ask Creed,
Mm-hmm.
they do a new one annually. Last year it was Greeks. This year it's Vikings. Okay, the level of retarded is absolutely fascinating. Okay, because actually they've been doing them annually since Black Flag.
Right. Even
So,
before that.
well, no, the first time they started annualizing right around the time Black Flag was released. They put out 3 or 4 of them all near one another. And after Black Flag, it was every year without fail. They actually no, I think they took a year off at one point.
Yeah, they took a year off after Unity.
Yeah, it's that Ask Creed Unity. That game needed horrifying fixes before it could be before it
Releases.
could be considered useful to anyone for any purpose. Um, so the idea that the thought that Ubisoft would do that to a game that wasn't actually that's not that's part of their annualization, it doesn't work. If they were going to do a test run on a new IP, they build a game, tell everybody it's a limited time thingy, sell as many as they can, and then go back and look at the numbers. If their numbers aren't what they're looking for in 6 months, they'll probably pack it back out in 6 months to a year after that and just leave it on the store. Now, what I think Nintendo is actually going to do with the Mario 3D collection is they're going to give it the 6 months, and then they're going to release the games one at a time for somewhere between 30 and $60 a piece. That's my guess. If I had to put the guess down, that's where I'd go with it. If I was Nintendo's board, that's exactly what I'd be thinking. So you can buy all three of them at $60, or you can wait until after it's over, probably about 6 months, and then start. And then they release them. They send them back out in the wild on permanent party in the eShop at $30 a pop, or $50 a pop, or whatever it is they want to. However much money they think they're going to make out of it.
Right, and the thing about doing it in this way, it actually punishes. I think it actually punishes the player for not jumping in on the rush in the
That's
long
just
run.
it. You've got 6 months to buy it, and therefore, even if you choose not to rush, the only difficulty you're going to face is that you won't be able to get a physical copy. And Nintendo is free to print or not print as many copies as they want. We've got whole publishers that work on that work strictly on that basis. They make 5,000 or 10,000 or 50,000 freaking cartridges, and when they're out, when they're gone, they're gone. That's just a thing. Um, Limited run games does this. They create a limited run of 5 to 10,000 copies. You actually have to pay Nintendo a significant chunk of money for every physical copy. You ever see how many? Have you seen how many games are in the eShop versus how many physical copies on your GameStop? Think about that for 5 seconds.
Right, I do see that.
Okay. So even if they made, I don't, a million, 1.5 million copies of Super Mario Maker 2, which I can go to a Walmart or a GameStop and find on the shelf for 50 or $60, you can guarantee at least 20 of that went to 20 $20 out of each cartridge went directly to Nintendo for manufacturing purposes.
Right.
So on top of shipping and marketing and all that crap, a physical copy is going to run at least the $50 that Walmart charges. Walmart buys in bulk, so they're actually getting them a little less than that. But for every physical copy of a game that is sold, the margin on it generally is less than $3 to the store owner. And that's why GameStop decided to stop focusing so completely on new purchases and started specializing in used game sales.
Right.
What I'm waiting for is GameStop to do the McDonald's thing and turn itself into franchising operation rather than all of those stores being corporate, because that turns the tables in a completely different way. If I
Right.
want to open a GameStop that's mine, I can contact GameStop and say, okay, I have this kind of money. Let's put it all down. I'm willing to put it all down right now. Let's get started on the games. Let's get started. Where's my location? How much do you want rent, etc. Because you can as your average Donald's, assuming that all things are average at all times, you can pull out probably about $1,000 or so a month. If your business remains steady and doesn't wind up having huge rushes. But that's all franchise work, and you're making probably about 5 to 10% on total sales.
Right.
The only reason GameStop does things the way it does is because it's so that they can absolutely micromanage every fucking store, and that's a bad plan.
Right.
So,
And because of the COVID thing, they nearly lost their licenses in a number of states because of they were like, we're essential. Nah, they're not. Anyway,
Um,
we're getting a little bit we're getting a little bit off topic here. I think.
no. I want to touch that for just a second. And yes, I realize we're mildly off topic here, but the reason for the diversion actually goes back to how Nintendo is not necessarily being anti-consumer. Um, the thing is that the video game industry was one of the things that least impacted by COVID.
Mm-hmm.
GameStop took a hit, but when you really stop and think about it, what the hell are people supposed to do when they're stuck in the house for 6 months, 8 months, whatever the hell it's been now? Um, you're gonna you're gonna the things that are going to get sold the most are going to be movies and video games. Think about that. 5 seconds.
Right.
Because I can get on the internet right now, go to GameStop.com or Walmart.com or any fucking where else I can find, and say, okay, I want this game and this game and this and this game and this game and this game and this game. And well, guess what? GameStop's still open as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Although at some point they actually did just mostly disable the website. Probably because they didn't have enough people left to run it. But the physical stores, most of the brick and mortar stores are still open, or excuse me, are open again. In South Dakota, everybody was all thrilled. GameStop maintained a steady sales level, but they were also never closed. Okay.
Okay. Now, yeah, we're mostly blowing time here. What we're doing essentially is Nintendo's doing what Disney is doing all the time, and
Yeah.
that is releasing games with a limited time release.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly what they do, and we have no guarantee those movies or the movies to the games or whatever are ever going to be seen again. I think that in terms of Nintendo, there's too much opportunity to make money off of these games, and therefore we will see, even if they get vaulted for a little while, we will see them again. Um,
it's just a matter of when, not if.
yeah, it's going to be a when, not if, and in what form. Because you've got what Mario Sunshine, which was not horrifyingly popular, but it still worked. Mario 64, which was god tier popular, and Super Mario Galaxy, which was also god tier popular.
Right.
So you've got one from the Nintendo 64, one from the GameCube era, and one from the Wii. With the Wii U game coming out later, with the Wii U game coming out somewhere near Valentine's Day next year. And that in and of itself will be a thing. We're going to have all of this, and there's really very little. And regardless of how loud we howl, there's very little that's gonna be done about it.
Right.
But the chances of seeing the three games in the pack that's going to be released later on this month, the chances of us not seeing them again
Are actually very, very good.
The chances of us not seeing those three.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear what you said.
The chances of us not seeing those games again is effectively 0.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if a whole bunch of people buy it, the chances of us seeing them again in some form is extremely good. I can't say 100% for absolute certainty, but I'll go with 99.999 continuing percent.
Yeah.
There is a chance. There is a chance, however thin, that we're going to not see them again. This is the chances of that actually happening are so small as to be effectively zero.
Right.
Again, if I was Nintendo, I'd break the pack up, and then push said pack out as 3 separate releases. Something, and I would do it for less than $60. I'd probably do it for 30 to 35 a piece, which means you make a profit, which means they make a profit for each game above and beyond the $20 they're actually going to get for the
Hardware manufacturing.
well, no, not even that. We're talking about the $20 that each game is effectively costs at this particular moment in time. So if I can make an extra $10 on the game separately in a year or 2 years, I can make that reach. I really can. If I can make an extra $20 on it, then that's even better. Mm-hmm. I know about that.
So,
you know, and then of course, we still have the Mario Legos. They're out now.
Yeah.
But as far as it being strictly anti-consumer, yeah,
Not quite. Not quite.
Not quite. It's not quite anti-consumer. But it is one hell of a marketing play. But then, when you really think about it, most marketing is anti-consumer.
Right.
Yes, you're telling people about it, but the chances of a marketing dude lying is approximately the same as the chances of a marketing dude breathing in and out. In fact, I have actually busted some marketing people that have told more lies in one sentence than there were words in that sentence.
I would love to see that.
Oh no! Actually, you want to talk about people that the only people that lie more often, at least in this country, Democrats at the DNC.
Okay.
Followed immediately by the mainstream media.
Anyway,
lies by omission.
Yep.
But we're not going. That's way off the left field. That went from left field to right field and then back to left field again. Without actually going through center field, which is scary.
Oh boy.
So how about your argument, dude? What do you got now? What you got? Come on.
Not much actually.
Do I expect Nintendo to pull stupid shit? Yes, I expect Nintendo to pull stupid shit because they've been pulling stupid shit since they were making plastic playing cards.
Yes.
Okay, they've been doing weird shit since they were, strictly speaking, a Hanafuda maker. Do I expect them to do any different today? No. I don't. I expect them to shock and surprise everybody. For example, the shock and surprise that went from the transition from the GameCube to the Wii. That was scary. Everybody's like, what the hell are they thinking? What? Mush fuck! And then when the Wii actually released, it outsold pretty much every fucking thing that Christmas. I remember those days. I remember them very clearly. And of course, by that time, I was in my 30s, which should tell you a lot. I was as old then as you are now.
Yep, that's true.
So, go figure. Hell, I'm headed for 50 at this point. Rawr.
uh,
I'm not there yet. Give me a couple of years. I only just started lap number 49, so we're headed the right direction. But still, it'll be a huge pain in the ass.
right.
So again, what do you got? You got a counter argument now? Please tell me you have a counter argument.
Let's let's play devil's advocate for just a minute. Uh, suppose there is a way. Suppose there is a way for the EAs, the Activisions, uh, the Ubisofts of the world, wherever they may be, decides to take a look at what Nintendo is doing and decides, okay, and we're not gonna we're just gonna limit the uh we're just gonna limit we're just gonna release it digitally and say, okay, you have X amount of time before we cut off availability of this game.
Nothing changes. Absolutely nothing will change. You know why?
Ooh.
Yep, because your EAs and your Activision, everybody else like that, they actually sundown once the new version of the game is released, it gets a foothold. They sundown the servers for the old one, and they do this every fucking year. Nothing will change. You're describing their current behavior, especially when you're talking about NBA 2KX, FIFA, all those folks.
Right.
Name me a game, because I'm surprised the Battlefield V server, the Battlefield Victory server, is still up. I'm shocked beyond belief.
And I'm and
Once the new game comes out, it's got its foothold. The old servers are shut down because there's usually no longer enough players to support it, and that generates the behavior you're talking about.
right.
It's not the EA and Ubisoft and ActiBliz and the other folks who are just going to go, oh well, Nintendo's doing it, they're getting away with it. Why don't we do that? No, it's that this is a behavior they already have because they must.
Right. Because of the nature
Okay.
of games as a service.
Right, and restricting the and generally speaking, restricting the number of copies that you can sell of a game like that, it doesn't work. It won't work. It can't, because all those games depend on a huge player base. Not only for that is absolutely beholden to that game, 8 to 16 hours a day. It's the reason PUBG is still alive, because it has a huge player base. And without that player base, you're done. You're smoked.
Right.
You will have nothing. Okay. Fortnite is supporting everything. Fortnite is currently supporting everything Epic Games does, including the exclusivity deals that they went for. Speaking of, I know why Frogwares went for it, and and at this point, I can't blame them. I can't blame them in any way. I can't do it. Given the way Big Ben Interactive was fucking with them, that was the only chance they had to survive.
Right.
So I forgive them. I forgive them a lot. Mind you, I have a copy of the game in question, The Sinking City.
Mm-hmm.
And I got mine with I got mine. Actually, Big Ben gave me that copy. So yeah, screw you, Big Ben. I hate you. But yeah, no, anti-consumer practices are fucking everywhere. I mean, if you want to go for anti-consumer practices, Nintendo is not offering a special currency for for the triple pack or Mario 3D World. By the way, I do actually intend to get both because that's gonna be a thing. I'm hoping to have Trails of Cold Steel 4 by launch day. I might get it on time, and if I get it ahead of time and I stream it, they're gonna be mad at me. I gotta actually give a shit. But hey, it's all good.
So overall, we've basically proven that Nintendo is doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, except that Nintendo's doing it with single player games, which again is up to them. They can do that if they want to, but the chances of those games disappearing permanently after that is zero. It might be a year, it might be two, but those games will be back. I
Right.
can almost guarantee it. There's too much money to be had for them not to. Far too many, far too much money. The one thing I can guarantee in the AAA video game space is that they will not leave a single fucking penny on the table if they don't have to. They will have to be forced to leave that penny on the table. Someone will have to smack their hands and then cut it the fuck off for them to not for them to leave that penny on the table. Hell, they'd take half the penny if they thought they'd get away with it.
Right.
You know how your gas station charges you whatever the price is, 0.9?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that. Only that tenth of a penny is Nintendo's to take if they can. Because as far as most of the AAA gaming space is concerned, that's not your money, it's theirs.
Right.
And EA, Ubisoft, ActiBliz, and anybody else you can freaking think of in the AAA space, that's their money. And they're going to take it away from you by any means necessary.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, to put a pin on the conversation for a little bit, I do have some admin to do.
Admin.
Yes. Today, I'm proud to announce that the W2 report will be in a podcast form. So, in other words, instead of the video that you are currently seeing on the screen, you get a nice little MP3 file to take around with you wherever you go.
Please subscribe to Lord Crocosquirrel on YouTube.
and so today I'm proud to announce that the W2 Report Live will be on a podcast format. And oh, that is a very good question, and we can answer that with a button click.
Ooh.
We will be on Anchor.fm if you want to follow us live. It will be the link will be in the YouTube description when we finalized when the 24 hours that's previously required for myself. Yeah, the Twitch exclusivity agreement will expire on 24 hours from now, and we will upload that to YouTube. We will upload this to YouTube and Anchor.fm. I will hope to see you guys there, and I hope you follow us for more W2 Report Live, and outside of that, I don't have anything else to discuss.
Yeah, you get to hear an MP3 format, me, Hammer, and Sanji in random debates. It'll be great.
So today we are going to close this W2 Report Live. I have been Sanji Himura. I'd like to thank you all for... Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, just so you're aware, folks, we were actually having this conversation last night and into this morning. So that he actually knew what my arguments were in advance, and didn't bother to come up with a reasonable defense. He was hoping for the guy that wrote the article to show up so he could defend the argument rather than him having to debate me.
Yes, you caught me. Guilty as charged.
Sucker. That's what you get for praying.
Anyway, I have been Sanji Himura. I'd like to thank you all for watching this little stream. And we will see you guys on the next W2 Report Live. Do keep in mind that there is 2 separate Twitter accounts, one for myself and one for the W2 Report Live. And it will
Make
be...
sure you're following both of them.
Yeah, make sure you're following both of them so that way you know when the next W2 Report will come down. Until then, I have been Sanji Himura. That's been Lord Crocosquirrel. And I will see you guys on the next live stream. And that was a false start. I'll see you guys on the next live stream tomorrow. And we will see you guys on the next W2 Report.
Hasta bye-bye. Ending soon, it says. I haven't muted my microphone. So, did you